All right, welcome in Brian Edwards, majorwager.com. Big news in college basketball, a big-time Woj bomb from ESPN's Hoops guru this morning is John Beilein, at the age of 66, is leaving for the NBA to take the Cleveland Cavaliers job. Now, most people, okay, why the Cavs? Well, Mike Gansey, who was a hell of a player for Beilein at West Virginia before he got to Michigan for his 12-year tenure, is the number 2 guy in the Cavs organization. So that's the connection. Now, how shocking is this? The 66-year-old factor is pretty surprising. But let's remember now, the Pistons and the Magic made overtures toward Beilein last year, and he decided to stay in Ann Arbor. So the AD, Ward Manuel, should, every AD should have a list ready as always, but especially after that last offseason, he should be prepared for this situation. So on the Cavs side of things, is this enormous NBA news? Whatever. The Cavs aren't going to be very good for a little while. So to me, this is more of a college hoops story with one of the elite jobs in college basketball coming open. During his 12-year tenure at Michigan, Beilein took the Wolverines to 9 NCAA tournaments. He had a 19-9 record in the tournament, 2 runner-ups, and those that know me well, I had Michigan last year. I had bet them in January at 60-1 and 55-1 odds, and they made it all the way to the finals. And I was on the cusp of winning a lot of money. Did not happen. I couldn't hedge on the day of the game. I actually had taken Villanova going into the semifinals, a $500 bet. So I came out a little ahead on it, but it could have been a huge payday for me. Anyhow, wonderful tenure at Michigan. Had a hell of a tenure at West Virginia as well. 2 NCAA tournaments, a Sweet 16, and Elite 8. They won the NIT his final year at West Virginia. Beilein's a heck of a coach. Now, how it'll translate to the NBA, especially with his age at 66, we shall see. Now, who are the candidates at Michigan? Okay, the obvious name this morning is Billy Donovan. Now, here's his situation at OKC. He is a bit of a lame duck next year. He is signed through next season. And really, the playoffs aren't over. And heck, we haven't even started the conference finals. So whether he was going to be retained or not hasn't really been decided. Now, there's been quotes from Billy D that, it's business as usual for him. And let's not forget, Sam Presti, the GM, is on a bit of a hot seat as well. And they probably go hand in hand. But if Donovan wants to get back to college, we don't know if he wants that. He wanted to move to the NBA for a long time. Has he been successful there? He was 1 game away from the NBA Finals his first year. Durant left, but, they were able to keep Russ. They were able to get Paul George and then sign him to an extension. So I've always heard mixed reviews on Donovan as an NBA coach. I know a lot of people are down on him. If he wants to make the move back to college, this is a great job. There's no question about that. So he's the name that's really out there. Now, I feel he feels loyal to Sam Presti, so we shall see. But I think that they will make him say no for sure. Now, who are some other names out there? It's disturbing for me, being a Gator fan, is that I'm hearing Mike White and ESPN's Jeff Borzello and Stadium's Jeff Goodman have him as candidates. And Borzello even used the word attainable when mentioning Mike White. Jeff Goodman's top 3 over at Stadium are Mike Bray, Chris Collins, and Mike White. Collins is an interesting name. Obviously a Midwest guy, always has been, and took Northwestern to its first ever NCAA tournament and its first ever NCAA tournament win. Now, one under the radar perhaps name you may hear is LaVall Jordan. Now, remember, he's at Butler. Now, he played at Butler. In fact, he was the one who missed 2 free throws to set up Mike Miller's game-winning shot at the buzzer in the 2000 NCAA tournament for my Gators when he played at Butler. But he was on Beilein's staff at Michigan from 2010 to 2016. Bobby Hurley is a name also coming up. Porter Moses at Loyola Chicago, although he rebuffed St. John's and stayed. I mean, Juwan Howard, I know he's assistant for the Heat, but man, you know, he hasn't been doing the recruiting thing. He's never been a head coach. I don't know about that one. You know, Thad Matta's name comes up every now and then with these jobs. And obviously he was down in Athens last year and was their first choice before they went with Tom Crean. I just can't see a Michigan hiring a guy that was fired by Ohio State just a couple of years ago. I just don't see that at all. And I don't know that I agree with Mike White being so attainable and Mike White looking to make a move. Although I will note that Scott Strickland is not who hired Mike White. Jeremy Foley hired Mike White on his way out before retirement. I still hate Jeremy Foley so much. Anywho, so there's your situation. Now, it's also coming up, maybe Brad Stevens, you know, worth a call, if you will, just like Donovan. Again, it's hard to predict what Donovan wants, but I think he will be their choice. Now, going back a little further, their AD, Michigan's AD, obviously, Manuel, he was at UConn when Jim Calhoun retired, so he hired Kevin Ollie. Did that work? Well, he won a national title, but then it went ugly at the end. I don't know if that lawsuit is still pending. You know, he was a much thought of alum, and it really went south at the end. But they did get a national title out of it, so it's hard to, you know, completely defecate, if you will, on that hire. And by the way, he came to Michigan in 2016, and that is his alma mater. So there you go. There's some candidates. Michigan has got an important hire to make. And the Cleveland Cavaliers have hired John Beilein at the age of 66. And, you know, will there be ripple effects? Will Michigan hire a in-place head coach, you know, not a Billy Donovan, not a Brad Stevens, or at least because they're at the NBA level? Will this end up opening another job? Well, whether it's a LaVall Jordan at Butler or a Bobby Hurley at ASU, who also, like Porter Moses at Loyola Chicago, rebuffed overtures from St. John's. Keep that in mind with Hurley. I'm Brian Edwards of MajorWager.com. Big news in the NBA and college basketball today, and there are my thoughts.